Hello everybody, this is John J Gaming, and today's game has the Mud Dogs of South Central Louisiana State go on the road for the first time in their FBS history against South Alabama to begin conference play in the Sun Belt Conference. Going off of the coin toss here, looks like we will actually get the ball to start this game. We'll have South Alabama kick it off to us to start the game here, and Casey Bug is actually going to take the kickback. He has a lane going down the center real quick, but they closed that hole rather quickly. This is definitely a player that's going to be extremely helpful to continue the winning ways that we experienced last week against UAB. Off of only 16 carries, he had 74 yards and 3 touchdowns. Was a really nice game. Definitely a key component to this Mud Dogs offense early on, as he takes the carry for the very first play of the game for only 2 yards. 2nd and 8 though for the Mud Dogs of South Central Louisiana State. G. Gunnell's going to drop back to pass. He has Nate Colvin down the middle, and he's going to hit him for 18 yards. Really nice play for Nate Colvin. Get the offense moving very early on. First down for the Mud Dogs, sees an audible. He's going to throw it to TJ Wood, who's the starting tight end for this team. He's going to move the ball forward for 5 yards on the play and gets the Mud Dogs in a very manageable second down situation. Really liking how we're moving the ball to start the game early on. Going to hit him with this fake draw. That was really successful last week. Casey Bug's going to get it for 2 yards, but he seems like he gets injured on the play. Hopefully, we'll be able to see him come back later on just because of how vital of a role he plays. But we still have this 3rd and 4, and we're going to have G. Gunnell drop back the pass, and he has John Espinoza, but Espinoza actually drops the pass. It's going to force us to punt the ball. Where South Alabama is going to get it on their 30. First play of the game, though, is for the Jaguars offense is going to go to Mike Downing. Looks like one of their SWAT receivers, but that's only going to go for a yard. Not a bad way to start for this Mud Dog defense. Second play of the game is actually a screen. The defensive linemen were sucked in. Really fooled us on the halfback screen so far, as Chris Smith had a really nice lane for a good while, ends up getting 14 yards on the play. Really need to be aware of what the halfbacks and the offensive linemen are doing when we have such an easy lane to the quarterback. Got another play here to King. Looks like Edmund King is his name. He only gets it for 2 yards. So besides the halfback screen, doing a good job so far. Just gotta keep them in front of us. Always really important to do that. As Gene's gonna drop back the pass, gets it to Downing. Gene's actually doing a really good job so far. I have to give him that. Coming into this game, was looking at his stats. He was 18 for 48. Had some really putrid stats early on in the season, but right now he's rather efficient. And that's going to give the Jaguars a short 3rd and 3. Getting tight end in motion here. He's going to drop back the pass again. This time he's going to get it back to Downing, the halfback. And that's going to be a 6-yard gain, and that's going to be a first down for the Jaguars. As you could tell with the helmets that the Mud Dogs are wearing, the equipment manager did bring the right helmets this time around, which is always nice. Last game, we had to wear the alternate practice helmets because our equipment manager left them in the equipment room for a home game against UAB, although it didn't matter too much. And you see there on the bottom of the screen, Casey Bug is going to be out for the rest of the game with back spasms. Really big loss for the Mud Dogs. So really need the rest of his team to come together and try to pull out another win for the Mud Dogs. Because Casey Bug is not going to be able to help us out for the remainder of this game. Really unfortunate. Dude was a beast in the UAB game, and thought maybe he could replicate that against South Alabama, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. We got South Alabama going for it already, 4th and inches, very aggressive call here early on. He's going to give it to Hendricks, and Hendricks finds just enough of a lane to get past the first down marker and then some for 5 yards. As South Alabama Jaguars, they transition into that no-huddle offense. Really be interesting to see how the defense reacts to this speed of the offense that the Jaguars are bringing, as Chris Means makes the catch for a few yards before they move right back into the no-huddle offense. See the Jaguars already getting set to run their next play here, and it's going to be, oh my goodness. And Gene has a lane, and he's going to score the first touchdown of the game. 23-yard run. Thought our defensive tackle was going to be able to wrap him up, but for some reason, the animation just doesn't go through, and that's going to be the first score of the game for the South Alabama Jaguars in the middle of the first quarter. We do have Carl Wright in the game for us now that Casey Boggs will be out for the rest of the game with those back spasms, and takes his first carry for 6 yards, followed by G. Gunnell going into this rushing attack as well. He has a nice 9-yard gain on the play, allows us to get the first down on the play. So we're on the 40-yard line, getting ready to run yet another read option, see what we can do here. And Carl Wright there, he showed a little bit of that Trent Richardson in the NFL. Had a nice hole to work off of, but for some reason ran right into the defensive lineman from South Alabama, and it could have been a much bigger game, but it's only going to be a game for 1 as it hits 2nd and 9. Pass goes Scott Miles. Scott Miles has been doing a lot better job of catching the ball as of late. He had 4 drops in the very first game of the season, but ever since he's really tightened that up to show that that's only a fluke, hopefully. Another carry for Carl Wright. Looks like it goes for a good game, but it seems we have a flag on the play. And just as I'm praising Scott Miles, he goes ahead and gets a clipping penalty for our team. Forces us back 7 yards on the play. Henry Quine, the head coach of the Mud Dogs, is not very happy about it, but we're not going to get those hometown calls like we did in the first couple of weeks, and we're just going to have to adjust to that. Mike Bullock gets a carry for this team. I didn't even know he was the third-string running back as well. You may remember last week he has a few really nice returns against UAB Blazers, where he even returned one for a touchdown, and also plays corner for a team, as that pass is incomplete thanks to Andrew Christensen. But yeah, that's actually a little bit of a shock for me. Did not know that Mike Bullock played running back as well. Be interesting to see how many carries he's going to get now that Casey Boggs is going to be out for the rest of the game. 3rd and 13 for the Mud Dogs, and he's able to get it to Carlos Burrell. Really nice 15-yard gain right there. Able to slice right down the middle to really tight window that Gunnell was able to pierce it through. It's going to be a first down as Carl Wright gets another carry on the day, this time for 5 yards. So the loss of Casey Bogg really hurts us early on. However, I think Carl Wright is starting to warm up as he's steadily getting more yards on the ground as this first quarter is going on. Basically another run play for G. Gunnell right there. Was going to run the play action, but didn't see anybody open, so went ahead and tucked it himself for 9 yards. And with 4 seconds left in the first quarter, we're going to try to run this no huddle real quick to try to get him off guard. And they certainly do that, throwing the ball real quick to Scott Miles, who gains 12 yards on the play for a first down. But that's the end of the first quarter. Really quick first quarter. for both teams have a little bit of a defensive battle to a degree. Going to be interesting to see how the Mud Dogs attack the second quarter here, which we're going to start with another carry for Carl Wright, and he has an open lane, and it's a touchdown for the Mud Dogs. Carl Wright, nice 12-yard carry to get into the end zone. What a way to start the second quarter off for this team. South Alabama with the ball back, though. First play of their drive is going to go to Chris Smith, who is going to be held to 3 yards before they go right into his no huddle. Another screen to the left-hand side to Edmund King. He's going to get it for a couple of yards on the play. 3rd and 5, be interesting to see if the Mud Dogs can get him off the field, be a nice 3 and out, to be able to get some momentum in this second quarter. And they're going to do just that. Chris Smith, they try to get us with the halfback screen, but they ain't feeling that. We're going to get the ball right back before we get it to Scott Miles. Once again, he has a lane. He gets 30 yards on the play. This Mud Dog offense is rolling. They really harnessing that Inner Water Boy movie right now. Really seizing the momentum. But, of course, that momentum gets stopped a little bit with Scott Miles dropping the pass right there. So, 2nd and 10 for the Mud Dogs here. Going to go right back to his running game, see what Carl Wright can do for us here. And really need to coach Carl Wright to not go outside as much as he did right there. He had a little bit of a running lane, but alas, that's he's not going to take that hole. He's going to try to bounce it outside to get more yardage. So we have a 3rd and long here, which we're going to try to get him with the halfback draw. But the defense snuffed that out. And we have an amazing kicker in Derek Wallace, who's going to make this 46-yard field goal for the Mud Dogs, put us ahead 10-7, but a little bit of a lost opportunity for us right there. South Alabama Jaguars get the ball back, and they're going to go right back to Chris Smith with his 4th carry of the day, this time for 7 yards, forcing a 2nd and short for the Jaguars before they go to that. Once again, that wide receiver screen. This time they were able to get good yardage off of that. Mike Downing was able to get 10 yards on the play to get it first down. And if we're going to stop this team long term, we're going to have to really limit their yardage. If we can limit their yardage as Downing breaks a tackle, first of all, we can't have stuff like that happening where he gets stopped like 5 to 8 yards and then breaks the tackle and gets 25. We can't have stuff like that happening. We need to keep this team in front of us. And that right there is what we don't need to do. As Mike Downing catches another ball for 5 yards. This dude already has 6 receptions on the day, and I'm pretty sure this is only their 3rd drive. If this was fantasy football, definitely a good PPR option to have on your squad. Victor Jean's going to carry the ball once again, and it's another big run. Victor Jean, he only has the two carries on the day, same as his jersey number, but he already has 40 yards rushing. Really going to have to try to contain him if he tries to go on this read option. And it's also setting up Chris Smith to a degree because he just gets an 8-yard carry on the play right there. 2nd and short for the Jaguars, and just like that, Paul Hendrick, the backup running back, is going to get in there for a touchdown. It's going to pull them ahead 14-10. Thomas Higgins is going to take the kickoff here, though, and he has a lane, and he gets pushed out of bounds at the 35. If you remember Thomas Higgins, he had an interception to really seal that win against UAB last week. Had a really nice return there in relief of Casey Boggs, who usually handles some of the return duties. And that's going to set up his Mud Dog offense, who he's going to get it to Nate Colvin here once again. They left him wide open on the play-action wheel route, and he's going to get 13 yards on the play, and that's going to set up a Mud Dogs first down right there. G Canal doing a pretty good job being efficient early on, 7 for 10. We're going to hand it off to Carl Wright to try to keep him honest, but once again tries to bounce it to the outside and only gains a yard on the play. He could have gotten a lot more, but really need to work on that with him. Instead of maybe a 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, we're going to have a 2nd and 9 with G. Cannell dropping back to pass. Really likes his matchup with TJ Wood, who has a really nice, not only a nice route running right there, but he's able to break a couple of tackles and gain good 23 yards on the play. Puts him right on the edge of the red zone right there before we hand it off to Carl Wright. Once again, he's going to have another solid 2-yard gain. Looking like some Trent Richardson numbers without the touchdowns so far early on in this game. But there's still time for our running game to get it together. And it's still setting up and it's affecting the play action game to a degree. Because right there, they were not fooled by the play action. All the receivers are covered, and G. Cannell is going to have to throw it away. So we have a long 3rd and 8 for the Mud Dogs. He tries to get it to A here, but Christensen reads the route perfectly, and it's going to be an interception by the Jaguars. Really devastating for us to have, because we're right there, an opportunity to get some points on the board, and instead it's going to be an interception with the Jaguars getting the ball back. But our defense does recover nicely. Victor Jean throws a halfback screen to the running back and forces a loss of 5 yards. Jean dropping back once again is going to have to throw it away for his very first incompletion on the day. Really nice pressure by the defensive lineman to force the quarterback to throw it away. So we have a long 3rd and 15. Be interested to see what the South Alabama Jaguars do, and they try to run it to the tailback, and he almost gets the first down. Well, I believe that's the longest run by Chris Smith on the day, but they're still forced to punt it away, and here we are on the 40. This time with Darren Joyce, one of the senior wide receivers on this team. He gets his very first catch of the day. That goes for 18 yards. As the Mud Dogs, they usually aren't known for this, but they go into a no huddle, see if we can get some momentum in. I'm not sure what that pass was going to be honest with you, but that was a rough pass to watch. And instead of making a completion with some yardage, it's gonna be 2nd and 10 for the Mud Dogs. G. Cannell drops back. He gets it to Nate Colvin once again, who's having a really nice game, I must say. His 3rd catch of the day for 44 yards. He may not get a lot of receptions, but definitely a good speed guy and has some half-decent route running that can be used. And really trying to get this no-huddle going to get the ball down the field quickly, but every time we try to get it going, we have passes like that where the passes are just off when we need them to not be off. But we're still doing okay. We get the ball to Nate Colvin once again. He's wide open in the flat. They really trying to make sure that we don't score extremely fast. But Colvin's got some speed on him, like I said earlier, so we'll get 12 yards on the play. And look at that. We run the exact same play, and they leave him open once again. So Nate Colvin's going to get the ball once again for a 7-yard gain on the play. Have G. Cannell drop back one more time, and he's going to get it to Scott Mills for the touchdown. Scott Miles. Oh, man, I just can't contain my excitement. It is really nice to see this offense humming without being blown out like we were in Maryland that first game of the season. Got 40 seconds left in the first half. Hopefully we can stop him here, but it's not going to start off well for us on this particular drive as Edmund King gets a good 20 yards right off the first play. Going to be a 1st and 10 for the Jaguars. And this time he's going to get it to King once more. And he is going deep. He gets him for 50-plus yards. Biggest play of the game. And it's going to set up a 1st and goal for these Jaguars. Oh, that is just absolutely disgusting to leave that many yardage on the play. He's going to drop back. He was going to throw, but he's going to elude the pressure and jump into this end zone where he's going to get a touchdown on the play. That's his 2nd rushing touchdown on the day for the Jaguars. 24 seconds left, and he almost gets picked off once again. Travis Williams this time is going to get his hands on it, but he's not going to be able to get the interception. So 21 seconds left. We're going to see what we're able to do. This time he sees Henderson once again. He's going to stroll down to get 25 yards for a tackle. He has quite the athleticism for a big man, and surprisingly he has some decent hands. I got to say, I'm really impressed. Try to catch him off guard here with a run to Carl Wright. But that was just a poor play call by the head coach, Henry Crine, and they're not going to get the 1st down, and it's going to have to be a timeout for the Mud Dogs here. 12 seconds left for them, so probably 2 plays tops. And Gunnell's going to take the sack. That is a sack of 8 yards right there. Definitely forces another timeout for the Mud Dogs, and that's something that you can't do if you're trying to get some points to end the half. So, got a long 3rd and 13. He tries to throw it to A once again. He is just heavily covered, and that's going to be an interception for the Mud Dogs here. Will Cole this time, the other safety, got the pick, and South Alabama is going to go into the locker room with a 21-17 lead, and will have the ball to start the second half. Speaking of those second half starts, very first play of second half is going to go to Eddie Williams, the tight end, for a 9-yard gain, but it looks like he sustained some kind of injury on the play. Going to have to check on him later on to see what's going on with him. But for now, we got a 2nd and short for the South Alabama Jaguars on the 35-yard line. Going to get the ball to Smith here, and Smith's going to make a nice cut up field for an 8-yard gain on the play. Really hot start for the South Alabama Jaguars, really trying to take control of this game early on in the second half. It's going to be important for the Mud Dogs to be able to stand up on this drive and not allow any points on this possession. And that was going to be a good way to start, but Bobby Boucher originally gets shoved off, but he's able to recover nicely and gain 7 yards. Really surprised that the quarterback was able to break that tackle. Might be due to Boucher's size, but I know he's the best ball player that we have on this team, surprisingly. As Victor Jean is able to get away with another 3 yards on the carry, forcing 3rd and 1 for the South Alabama Jaguars. With this time, it's going to go to Chris Smith once again. While Romadux was there to make the tackle, but fortunately he gets ran over like a dumpster truck, and that's going to be a 1st down for South Alabama. Very first play after that, though, we were able to force another throwaway by the quarterback. Didn't see anybody open, and there was some decent pressure on him from his defensive line, so good job all around by his defense to force that incompletion. Very next play, however, is going to go to Coleman, and the corner did a really nice job of responding, rallying to that football, and executing that tackle to perfection, only gaining 3 yards. So shout out to James Joyce with his 7th tackle of the game. Even with the defensive lineman getting there too, this defense is certainly starting to heat up once again. But looks like the Jaguars, they're feeling really good about themselves and their kicker. So they're going to try to get it looks like from the 50-yard line. And I thought he made it here, but it looks like he was just a little short. And the Mud Dogs are going to have their first drive of the second half from the 40, who is going to get it to Espinoza once again. But for the second time today, he's going to drop the pass. That would have been a first down if Espinoza was able to haul it in. Was really looking at what was going on upfield. Second play, though, is going to go to Darren Joyce, where it's a really tight window, but he's going to be able to make the catch and hold on to it for a 12-yard gain. First down for the Mud Dogs. See if we can get some momentum going with our running game. And South Alabama, I got to give it to them. They have been really stingy on the running game for today. Only 3 yards on the play. Going to be 2nd and 7 for the Mud Dogs, but we're starting to chip at it a little bit. Another 4 yards there from Carl Wright. Going to hand it off one more time to Carl. He's able to find a decent lane to run through. It's going to be a 5-yard gain on the play, and more importantly, it's going to be a first down to keep the chains moving for the South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs right there. Next play there is going to be a 4th run in a row. This time it's going to go to Mike Bullock, who gets his second carry of the day for 4 yards. Really excited how Mike Bullock is playing so far. Really a versatile player for this team, as Scott Miles brings in the catch for 16 yards. Very next play, however, tries to get it to Vistard's senior receiver and Darren Joyce, but they couldn't connect right there. So it's going to be 2nd and 10 for the Mud Dogs offense. See this offense lining up in a slam, and Carl Wright has a really nice lane to run through this time. And the key thing is he didn't try to bounce it outside or run to his own lineman, so he's able to get 7 yards on the play. 4's in a short, 3rd and 3. And almost had the touchdown right there, but it's going to be another drop for us, and we have to settle for a field goal. What's South Alabama going to respond with? And he not only did the receiver drop it, but it was almost tipped up for the interception. Really unfortunate that our guys couldn't come up with it, but really nice to see an incompletion to force a 2nd and 10 for South Alabama. And this time, Mike Bullock, the versatile player of this team, was able to come up and make a tackle. Only a 2-yard gain for Chris Smith, who has seemed to have done everything for South Alabama offense earlier today. Forces 3rd and 8, and this time he's going to get it to Chris Smith one more time, and it's going to be a 2-yard loss. Going to be a 4th down. We get the ball back to try to take the lead for the Mud Dogs in our very first road game in FBS history, as well as our first game in the Sun Belt Conference. Carl Wright is going to start us off with a 7-yard gain on the play, making it 2nd and short for South Central Louisiana State. What do the Mud Dogs have in mind this time? It looks like it's going to be another run, and it's going to be another run indeed. That's going to go to Carl Wright. 4-yard game on the play. Little bit of a peek at the cheerleaders right there to show their love and support. And for the play action, he dodges the first defender, but just stood there like an Eli Manning, Tom Brady statue, and just goes ahead and takes the sack. But does recover nicely on the very next play. Gets it out to Scott Miles, who gets the first down and makes up for the statue-like play on the previous play. Tried to make up some of the lost yards he got for his rushing totals personally. Only gains 4, but is able to rebound to get the ball to Darren Joyce once again for a 12-yard gain on the play. And that's going to be another first down for the Mud Dogs. And as we're starting to run out of time in the third quarter, offense is going to try trying to get humming along. As G. Gunnell drops back and dumps it off to RB, but the RB receiver was not able to haul it in. And it does stop the clock, but it also makes it 2nd and 10. See here what the defense has in mind. And Wright has a lane this time. Actually a smart move by Carl to bounce it out to the outside this time around. I know he gets a lot of crap, at least in this game, for bouncing it outside too much. But at least this time it was a good move. And it's the end of the 3rd quarter, and South Alabama is still holding on to a 1-point lead. They're leading 21-20. 3rd and 5 for the Mud Dogs, and they're going to go to a play-action vertical. Doesn't look like anybody is open, and he's just going to have to throw it away because that defense was right on his heels, and we have to settle for a field goal. But we do take the lead, though, so that's really nice. And our defense is on fire. See, Mike Bullock, arguably one of the best players on this team outside of Bobby Boucher and Casey Boggs. He goes about getting the sack on Victor Jean, and to respond to that, they did a really good job on the very next play with the halfback screen, but for some reason, they don't get it out to him, and it's going to be a 3rd and 18 for South Alabama Jaguars, which really puts them in a really bad spot because they are going to send the house on him. Try to get with a second halfback screen, but our defense responds really nicely, and we get the ball with about 6 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Going to start that drive off with Nate Colvin with a 12-yard gain on the play. Only 6 catches on the day so far, but he has 75 yards. I'm telling you, if you're playing fantasy football, you really want Nate Colvin on a team. Really plays that Julian Edelman role for this team. Carl Wright takes the carry once again, and it's only going to be for a couple of yards. But, hey, that's what our team is all about. We're going to just grind away, really try to limit these possessions in the game. But sometimes when you see that blitz coming, your quarterback is going to be smart about audibling out of it. And Joyce has a lane, and it's going to be a 21-yard gain for the senior wide receiver. And for some reason, they're going to try to blitz him once again. And he had Darren Joyce once again, but he doesn't see him in time. And this time the blitz is going to work. It's going to be a 6-yard loss for the Mud Dogs. And to top it off, Will Cole almost gets his 2nd interception on the day. He was open for a split second, but Will Cole makes a really nice play. Almost gets his hands on the ball completely to get the interception. 3rd and long for the Mud Dogs here. He's going to get it over to Darren Joyce. It's a little bit underthrown, but he's able to make the catch. And it's going to be another 20-yard gain on the play. 1st and goal. Before we hand it off to Carl Wright. He gets it for a few yards, but puts us in a really good position to try to make this a 2-possession game here. Be interesting to see which running play that we go with, because, you know, we already know we're a running team out here. And it looks like Mike Bullock's going to get a chance to get his first offensive touchdown of the season. And he's going to do just that. Gets in the end zone for a touchdown. He gets the kickoff return for a touchdown last week, and now he has a rushing touchdown in this week's game. Hopefully we can get him a defensive touchdown at some point in the season to really complete the trifecta. But the South Alabama Jaguars have roughly 4 minutes left in the game, so they're really going to have to move in order to try to get back into this game before they potentially hand the ball off to the Mud Dogs of South Central Louisiana State. And so far they're doing just that. They get a first down on the first play, and then they almost get another first down on the next play for 9 yards, making it a really short 2nd and 1, which they're going to hand it off once again to Chris Smith for a couple of yards, but it's going to be another first down. They may be down 2 possessions, but I kind of admire how they're still being methodical. They're not playing outside of themselves just yet. Really trying to stay calm here at home before they get it to Mike Downing once again for 12 yards. 8 catch of the day for 113 yards. Straight up, nobody has been able to cover this guy today, but we've able to slow down the rest of his team, and that's all that matters. Victor Jean's going to drop back once again. He sees Downing as he's throwing on the run, and it was only for a few yards at first, but he's able to stiff arm his way to nearly 20 yards. This man has more than half of Victor Jean's passing numbers on the entire day so far. And it's going to be another 1st and 10, where this time Victor Jean is actually going to keep it, but for a change, it's not going to be for a 1st down. It's only going to be a gain of 6 yards. Still killing us a little bit with the run, but with how he's killing us in the passing game as well, we simply just can't just focus on his legs. We also have to focus on his arm as well, and those dual threats are the most dangerous in the game, as he illustrates that perfectly by throwing a dime over to Steve Washington, who sets up a 1st and goal situation for the South Alabama Jaguars here. 3 minutes to go in the game. Hopefully we can hold him to a field goal here. And very first play of the game, he gets a run up the middle, the left-hand side, and for some reason that linebacker wasn't going to come up, and as a result, it's going to be a touchdown for the Jaguars, making it 30-28. Thomas Higgins gets his second return of the day, and it's a really good return for this Mud Dog football team as they get it to the 45-yard line. Less than 3 minutes left in the game here, and we're going to get it over to Darren Joyce, who is able to haul it in for 8 yards on the play. Really surprised that the head man and Henry Crine doesn't want to pass the ball yet. This time, Gunnell's going to be forced to scramble. He's able to get past a couple of guys, and he's finally brought down around the 30-yard line. 16-yard gain by Gunnell. Probably one of the best plays of the game for him right there, to set up this Mud Dog offense up before he throws another interception. Really got to maintain consistency. Thought we were going to be able to fool him with the play-action verticals, and of course, he throws a pick. But William Hurt almost makes up for it. He gets his hands on the ball for a really nice deflection, but South Alabama is going to be able to keep the ball. So we got 2 minutes left. South Alabama is down by 2, but it's coming down to the wire here to see if South Alabama takes advantage of the opportunity to really seize a win that maybe they weren't supposed to win, judging by how they played in this game thus far. But I'm sure the Mud Dogs can pull something out. We'll have to wait and see. We do have a long 3rd and 9, and it's really important that the Jaguars really convert this third down here. Wentz drops back the pass. He is wide open. 22 yards gain, and that's really frustrating. We set everything to conservative to make sure nobody gets behind us, but there's Edmund King doing exactly that and getting behind us. Luckily, it was a corner route, but it could have been a lot worse. 22-yard gain on the play, and it's going to be a 1st down. Victor Jean drops back to pass once again, but we force him to throw it away once more. Forcing a 2nd and 10. Throws another dime over to Ross. It appears James Ross with his very first catch of the day. And what at a real opportune time. It sets up the South Alabama Jaguars in field goal range as they still continue this hurry-up offense. Can the Mud Dogs make a really crucial stop here? And, you know, it's looking really dicey right now. It's another 5-yard gain from Mike Downing. All they have to do is not turn the ball over, and they can go and win this game here at home. Have to see what happens here as Gene drops back once again. He makes a throw, and Terrell with the interception. The play of the game right there. Picks off Victor Jean on the 30-yard line, and that might seal it right there. Barring any mistakes by our football team right there. We just need to get this first down right here, and we might be able to win this game for the Jaguars. And it looks a little bit dicey, 3rd and 1, so there's a chance that the Jaguars can get the ball back to try to win the game. But we fool them with the play action, the TJ Wood to really seal this game, and that right there is going to do it. The South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs is going to beat the South Alabama Jaguars 30-28. As one of my buddies used to say, the intention was there, but not the execution. And you can say that of both teams. Honestly, both teams didn't deserve to win today with how they executed each of their final possessions, but we're happy to take that win. And it was really ugly for us. Those 3 turnovers, we really need to cut those down. But Bruce Terrell was able to come in the clutch with that key interception at the end of the game. Derek Wallace also has 3 field goals. We do have 2 upgrades for 1 upgrade for each of our coordinators. Our defensive coordinator is going to get the bull rush upgrade. And as for our offensive coordinator, Maurice Mason, we're going to put it into carrying so that we could continue to limit our turnovers and limit those possessions. Next week, we're going to go back at home, play Louisiana Monroe. Really appreciate you guys tuning in to the channel. If you really like South Central Louisiana State football, would encourage you to subscribe to the channel, as well as like the videos and throw down a comment as well. Until then, I'll see you guys later. I hope y'all have a good one. Peace.